Good afternoon and welcome to our second round interviews from the lab. I moved to the creativity team and I am here with Pietro Gravino, which is a researcher from our lab. And I'm really happy to be with him now. So good afternoon. Hello, Pietro. How are you?
I'm very well. The situation here is really exciting, but it's also a bit exhausting.
Yeah, no. And what is your job in the lab?
In the lab, I work mainly on two different projects. One of the projects I love the most is the Cartesio Project. It's a study about our ability to adapt of online news and how our path of exploration of the online news world is guided by the systems of recommendation. Those systems that filter contents for us in online platforms.
So when you talk about online platforms, you mean basically social media?
Yes, social media, but not only. I mean, even Google can be thought as a system that relies on recommendation because it filters its content. It filters the results of researches according to the previous preferences of the users. So that's in general what a recommender system does. The idea is that the user online has to be proposed with the contents that he likes, and the platform, in order to understand the preferences, look at his past preferences, and based on the past of a certain user, they try to suggest something that he will like. But the issue with this, in particular, if applied to news, is that the user might be unaware of this and might think that the list of news he sees on Google, but also on Facebook or Twitter, is an actual depiction of the real world, which is not, because it's something that has been filtered to be closest to the preferences of the user. The result of this is a dangerous resonance, a process that reinforces the opinion of the user and push him toward an extreme opinion, making him less used to interact with diverse opinion. With all the with all the struggles for the social debate that we are seeing nowadays.
Yeah. So actually, it is one of the main problem we are facing when approaching digital information, digital communication, and also the use of the digital platforms. And so when you talk about extreme opinion, are you referring to what we call polarization or something like that, or
Actually, polarization is something a bit different. Extremization is a part of the process of polarization, but you have polarization when you have two or more factions that are extreme, and those factions become unable to communicate. And that's exactly the struggle of the social debate I was talking of before, because if those two factions that could be political factions, but also related to other kind of topics, if those factions becomes unable to interact in a civilized way anymore, the synthesis that is the heart of our democracies, it's not going to happen. We are just going to keep fighting on each topic, and we become unable to reach a consensus, a shared opinion about something. And we can see this for several different things: climate change, as well as COVID-19, and with the results that we have seen with the vaccinations campaigns nowadays that are struggling to reach the targets that were fixed to reach the herd immunity.
yes? And could you just explain how the project works?
Sure. Uh, the user is proposed to rate news according to his opinion, and there are no wrong answer. He just has to choose if he trusts and how much he or she trusts a piece of news. Uh, After that, we gather all those opinions and we try to reconstruct the structure of doubt. The result is this graph here, where we managed to portray all the different opinions expressed by our users according to the average opinion of a given news and according to the different rating obtained by that news. So we can see some points here where we have kind of a peak of the concentration of the points, which means that on the extreme, we tend to agree. We were expecting to see something like a line connecting those natural extremes. But in the middle, the situation is much more complex, because it means that in the middle, it's not just that we are not sure that if it's true or false. The situation is polarized. A lot of people are sure that it's 100% true, and a lot of people are sure that it's 100% false. So we aggregated this measure in a metric that we call discord. Actually, we are able to measure that the maximum of discord is around the 30% of trust. And it's very interesting to see that actually the news that have an average opinion that tend to be not reliable are also the most divisive. So maybe the problem it's not fake news. Maybe the problem are divisive news. So this is one of the outcomes of Cartesio, but one we care, the one we care the most is the exploration patterns of users, because we managed, thanks to the opinion ratings of the user, we managed to reconstruct what we call the space of news, which is here. In this graph, all the dots are different news that have been placed in the space according to their similarity with other news. So in this space, close dots are similar news, and far dots are news that are very, very different. And we can see how the user explore a path. This line is a real user that explored this path. And what we are doing in Cartesio is testing different recommender system comparatively. And our purpose is to measure the different outcomes in terms of diversity of the exploration, but also in terms of how much pleasant was the exploration for the users. Because on one side, we want to expose the users to a more diverse set of information. But on the other side, if we exaggerate with this diversity, we might get the so-called backfire effect. Backfire effect is an effect that happens when I expose you to a fact or a piece of news that is so far from your point of view that you will reject it a priori. And actually, the final outcome will be to strengthen even more your previous conviction. So we have to find the right balance between diversity and the fact that the experience has still to be pleasant for the user. At the end of their experience, our users get what we call a dubbed profile here. It's a very simplified analysis that presents the main statistical features of the experience of the user while examining the news. And speaking of this, I want in particular to thank a person, which is you, because you helped me with the design of the profiles. So thank you, Milena.
It was actually a pleasure to take part to this project because of the study we did on the content strategy about the profile of doubt. And so I thank you to let me do this. And what I wanted to ask now is, so how can people participate in a practical way? Because I think we need people to participate to this, right? Yeah.
That's exactly true. The experience is completely free and open to access for everyone. It's simple. You just have to go to the website, which is cartesio.news. Currently, the news are in Italian because this project is the fruit of a collaboration with Agicom, which is the Italian Agency for Guaranteeing Communications. And we are going, nevertheless, to try to create collaborations with other national entities in order to have the experience also in other languages, because of course we need a data set of news accessible in order to ask for opinions.
Yeah, so if I'm not wrong, the project also has a Facebook account, so you can also go there and search for further information about the project and just interact with the posts and the things the project is sharing.
And you can also download the app on the Apple Store and on the Google Store.
Okay, thank you. Just one more question to conclude our interview. Do you have in mind? I mean, I'm maybe this will put you from the other side of the topic. Do you have in mind the ID card of a fake news, for example?
You mean the typical feature of a fake news? Oh, well, there are, of course, several studies about this, but I will give you just 2 or 3 details about how it's easy to recognize a fake news. First of all, the language is really sensationalist. Like, this is going to change everything. Find the real truth about this thing. I mean, that's the typical language of someone that wants to attract your attention without a real content. Secondly, you can see in the text that there are a lot of misspells, a lot of errors, and also we will see that people that you never heard of will be quoted as experts. Also, another typical feature is the pictures that are stolen somewhere, that are no real pictures coming from a real piece of news. Sometimes if you right click on an image and you do a Google search on that image, you find out that that image is relative to another news of years ago, and that's completely unrelated to the fake news that somebody's been presenting you. Those are just a few pieces, but another very important thing is to be able to track who is the author of the news. Sometimes nowadays we receive news on social media like WhatsApp that are just screenshots of a piece of news, and it's impossible to know the source, who said that, and who confirmed that news. So it's very important to be able to understand where that comes from. It's like for food, you need to track if the olive oil you are using comes from, I don't know, from Salento or from somewhere else where maybe it's less controlled. It's a matter of transparency, of course.
So maybe as simple users, as we matter about the provenience of food, we should try to start to matter about the provenience of information and news, because as simple user, I think we can do a lot of work against fake news and their diffusion. Yeah.
Of course, I mean, it's in our own interest as users to do it.
Okay. So Pietro, I'm really happy to have this interview with you, and also to take part, a leader part in the project, because it was really amazing to participate.
That's not so little.
Okay, a certain piece of part, let's say like this. So I will thank you, and now I'm moving to the other stand, or maybe this one, yeah, is the other side of the stand, to interview your colleague and having fun together. Thank you.